Hello, everyone, and welcome back to game number 3 of the final day, day number 4 of stage 1. PUBG European League Contenders Promotionals for phase number 3. My name's Esquire, joined here by Imperium as we walk you through the final 2 games of this stage, where at the conclusion of it all, 8 teams will be able to rest assured saying we're moving on to tomorrow's set of games for stage 2, and 8 teams will unfortunately have to go back to the drawing board to look forward to the first phase of 2020. But until then, Imperium, what are your thoughts so far on the day?
Man, thoughts so far in the day is Airwaves have impressed. Powerful have continued to impress, to be honest, because sometimes it can be easy for these teams to maybe sit back and relax a bit more, but they followed up today with a winner chicken dinner. But the team that I've been probably most disappointed in is Futbolist, and the reason why I say that is because they competed in phase 2 contenders, and as did the likes of Powerful, and I kind of thought that they would have drawn on the experience that they would have learned from that and applied it to the promo games that they are in front of us, and they are currently lying in 12th place. Not down and out, don't get me wrong, but I just expect them maybe do a little bit better.
I think that's definitely going to be what pretty much everyone was hoping for, as we see the plane come out of the southern part of Miramar all the way up towards the north, everyone out of the plane, and phase 1 pops. It's not going to be that southern shift that we're used to seeing, but instead going to be a far northeastern shift centered on the mountain just to the south of El Azahar. Island's going to be in play, down to the south, water going to be in play as well. So teams are still going to have a few obstacles to work against.
They definitely are, and I don't think in any game of Miramar so far in this stage 1, we've actually really had a phase 1 zone that's been center of the map, so to speak. I think they've all been kind of shifts to either the west, north, south, or east. So yeah, it's going to require these teams to once again that landed towards the west side, north and southwest side, to really move on through. And once again, Deja Vu. Team Elite and Istanbul Wildcats fighting over Picado once again.
It almost makes you wonder if there's something outside of PUBG that has brought these teams back to one another again. And it almost makes you wonder why for Istanbul Wildcats. They're a team that is so very close on the cusp of qualifying here into this tournament. I mean, they currently sit in 11th place, behind 8th, and that's what, like 13 points that separates that? It's not the stage in the game for them to be doing it. Sure, there's a team that they're gunning for you. It's the members of Team Elite, but get out of there. Not worth it. Fight them if you want to kill them, if you want to fight them in the late game if you happen to cross paths, but not in the early stages where you risk so much going out in 16th.
Yeah, and not even just risk going out in 16th. And yeah, let's say they get the squad wipe right and they get 4 kill points. That's not the worst thing in the world. But what if they lose a member of their team and they're down to 3? That heavily affects their performance going into the late stage of the game, where they can potentially wipe out not 1 squad, but 2 squads. So you just got to put it into a bit of a statistical perspective and go, is it worthwhile us fighting this team at such an early stage of the game? For Istanbul Wildcats, it is 100% not worth it.
A few people asking why we are starting these lobbies with 15 teams in the game. It's because why not? One of our teams that started out stage 1 did end up disbanding, and I believe they have totally dropped out of the tournament. So it will be 15 to start it off as the apartments here in Picado start to be a bit of a hotbed of destruction. This time on the receiving end of things first, it's going to be the likes of the Istanbul Wildcats taking a grenade to the face as the members of Team Elite hold onto the floor just above.
Yeah, SWAT from Team Elite looking for shots off onto Istanbul Wildcats. Recognizes that they potentially can put them under more and more pressure, but takes strong damage himself. Is down to 35 health, and Pobax gets knocked down.
And this is the way these engagements continue to go. Both teams are going to see several knocks. No one's really going to reign supreme, even if Istanbul Wildcats come off with a kill. Having to combat against the likes of Powerful, 3D Max, Enviik, Airwaves, MJ-Esports in the late game. After losing so much in terms of attrition, it's devastating. Able to pick up a few kills, though, 2 to be exact, will be Slippy Zerg, but he's looking worse for wear. The members of Istanbul Wildcats, they haven't even had time to loot. Neither of these squads have picked up loot. They're not picking up anything off of these kills onto the members of Team Elite. And now the res starts to come out. Mr. Iwata trying to save his only remaining teammate to keep 2 up.
Yeah, I suppose, look, the good thing for Istanbul Wildcats is that they are still a 4-man squad. So, hey, look, even though I disagree with them fighting so early, at the end of the day, Istanbul Wildcats, they got a squad wipe and they stayed as a four-man team. So from that point of view, in this game, in this situation, it has been worthwhile, but I wouldn't advise it happening too often.
Yeah, it's 4 points for them. Hopefully they can at least keep things going. Maybe 4 of the easiest points they could have picked up, especially off of the landing loot location, with both teams still not really having armor. One shot to the head is all it takes to be a one-tap dirt nap. Ghostar from Powerful has stuck claim to at least this compound, trying to call in his teammates, but also trying to do a bit of grandstanding here to send MJ-Esports on their way. Not going to be crashing or scouting out this compound.
No, they are not indeed. Stratos, he knows that vehicle is about to go down. Being knocked to below half health, taking shots off from the Mini 14 of Morpheus, who actually gets return fire as Trico kind of turns and goes, okay, here's an opportunity to get a knockdown. Maybe I can get a frag out of it.
One of the things about Miramar, these wide open hills, these far range engagements lend themselves to dangerous third parties. And now Powerful, the very, very, very start of this game, going to be feeling that type of hurt. Elgiganten going to be rolling over the hillside where the members of MJ-Esports are starting to at least make their rotation just to the northeast of the junkyard location.
Yeah, Trico hears those vehicles. He sees the members of MJ-Esports. He's going to look to spot them out. Follow it up as he did onto Morpheus. But then he switches his attention around to where Morpheus was, just to keep an eye, just to make sure that there's nobody else from Powerful in that direction. So that's great kind of level-headedness coming out from Trico. Sometimes you can get a little bit tunnel vision, right, when you're so focused on one area or one opponent that you don't look around you too often. So that's a great job coming out from Trico.
Pulling up to a crate will be one of the members, Metaby, of CRIPS E-Sports. He's going to be pulling off a nice level 3 kit, possibly going to be, he is definitely going to be swapping out the Groza M4 in the water. So a good pickup for him and his team. Possibly could see that level 3 helmet shifted off to one of their marksman snipers to allow them to take those riskier peaks. YMCA setting up here in this compound blue zone, about 1 minute and 30 seconds off from reaching the edges of phase number 1 and showing us a better idea of where this game is going to be taking us.
Yeah, on a kind of random side note is that we did actually load into this game with 59 players instead of 60, 15 teams. So I'm not exactly sure who didn't load into the game in time, possibly disconnection issues, but that's just one thing to kind of slightly highlight. But SEEKORG, Metaby, he's on his own. Is Philo going to try and chase him down on that bike, get out of it, and try and get that knockdown, or is he just going to leave it? No, he does try and get that done. Is he going to get the flush onto him? 20 damage, knocked out, but Metaby does survive over that hill for now.
Yeah, I feel like the only way that SEEKORG was going to be able to drop Metaby out of the vehicle, especially after picking up that level 3 kit just about a minute ago, was if they were able to get multiple guns trained onto the Bronco and disable it or cause it to smoke so much that it forced Metaby out of that driver's seat. Unfortunately, not able to do so, we continue to look around the map where the members of the Futbolist have held up, possibly trying to catch anyone rotating on this roadside, and Airwaves making a big play here for the mountainside. This is a good spot to pick up some information, but also have the proximity of the compound just to the northwest.
Exactly. You give yourself so much area to move around, look around, scout out the opponents around you while still staying well protected. And they got fantastic at game 2 with 27 points. Let's see if they can follow up with game 3 as we're going to see this next shift. Is it going to be north? It is going to be somewhat northwestwards, as a lot of these teams are actually already in the circle, Esquire.
So a good shift for the teams here in the lobby, at least the 14 that remain after Team Elite did get dropped by the Istanbul Wildcats over in Picado. This takes things back to a little bit of a sense of normality here for these squads as they try to make the rotations from the south. Already seeing SEEKORG having a tough time doing just that, as Webby of the CRIPS is going to be firing off some suppressed Mini 14 shots in that direction. Not able to spot out the members of SEEKORG anymore, but does spot out both of their motorcycles, the more favored vehicle to make rotations here, especially on Miramar. This could hurt SEEKORG moving into the future.
100%. Just knocking those wheels out takes away essentially that form of transport for the side of SEEKORG. So great play coming out from CRIPS. It's that little things like that that do make a difference. You're kind of affecting your opponent's movement and you're essentially pinching them a little bit further, so that, of course, the hopeful outcome is that you get the kills, you get that squad wipe, and you're able to move on forward. But either way, CRIPS E-Sports doing a good job for now. 3D Max, they had a bit of a quiet game last game, holding down the south area of that zone. But let's see if they can follow up with a solid game 3 of today and secure their spot in the top 8, Esquire.
Shots coming out around the Minas Generalis area, where one of the members of the Istanbul Wildcats have found themselves positioned. The members of the Tarlans are moving up in a 3-1 split currently. Maga going to be holding off of his other 3 teammates on the hillside, approaching from the east. Not necessarily an engagement he wants to make, not something he wants to push too far into, especially given the breakage of line of sight that his teammates are no longer going to be able to have to support. But he is taking it slow. He is watching the outside, looking for any sign that a player has entered into that US could be the revealing key, but he's not going to be spotting it out just yet as the other members of the Wildcats roll in.
Yeah, Tarlans there lying in 14th place, 45 points, so around roughly 40 points behind the 8th position. So they're going to look to follow up, get a knock onto potentially 3D Max. Shots coming out from Moonlight. It's hitting the vehicle. It's potentially smoking out, not quite getting it done. So Tarlans, they do have a chance, but one could say it's a bit of a miracle they need. They would need to pull out either a powerful or an Airwaves type game with 15, 17 kills if they were to really put themselves in a strong position to qualify for stage 2. It's not hopeless, but it requires something big.
Sure, and the thing that concerns me right now is Tarlans is so spread out. They are not strong enough of a team to execute off of these 2-2 splits right now, especially with other teams starting to move in. It looks like at least the salvage on 2 bikes was able to be had by the members of SEEKORG as they push their way in. But also pushing their way into the member of the Tarlans. It's going to be Maga spotting out the Istanbul Wildcats. Had no idea that he was there, and this could be the opening that the Tarlans were looking for, but they're now getting third-partied. The other member of this squad, the other split, is facing off against Airwaves from a distance.
I don't get why he didn't look to secure that flush, to secure that kill point. That would have really have made that movement worthwhile, right? But maybe he just wanted to play it safe and just... that knockdown's enough for him, because if he had to stay that a little bit longer, the other members of the Istanbul Wildcats could have caught him out. So from that point of view, yeah, that was overall a wise choice coming out from Magas, because they want to try and keep themselves going as a 4-man squad. But this phase 3 shift has gone a bit southwards, Esquire.
Yeah, it's not going to be too devastating for many of the teams in this lobby. 14 exactly, having lost 1 off of the start of the game. Powerful will be rotating off of this mountain. It seems that they at least saw something in terms of MJ-Esports presence that they didn't want to push into, and I don't blame them, especially at this stage of the game. 15 seconds remain until the blue zone will work its way in towards phase number 3. And Powerful, even though they sit atop the leaderboard with a 35-point lead on second place, they still don't want to give anything up. They want to make a big grandstand showing moving into stage number 2.
God no, they want to put fear in the eyes of the teams in stage 2, right? They want to like kind of make them fear every single member of Powerful. And right now they're actually doing it. But Uth, he gets the knockdown on Tanoki.
3D Max starting to feel some casualties here as they were making that rotation from north to south. This is going to pull Wago, Solar, and Phantom back up here to try to at least scout out what the Futbolist have set up in this compound. We saw Futbolist roll up here a few minutes ago, but now that 3D Max is taking the third-party shots from Airwaves, you are not going to see them push onto this. You're likely going to see them try to disengage out of this pinch position as quickly as possible, or else it could be disastrous.
Well, we do see Solar's kind of peeking out, maybe looking for either a couple of shots or just to give that level of communication of how many members of Airwaves are there. If it's just one member, if it's 2, so he can communicate that with the rest of his team so they can make a bit of a calculated decision based on that information. But right now, in my eyes, they should just stay where they are and really just stay kind of somewhat prone out of trouble, because it could get to the point where Airwaves and Futbolists start trying to take each other out, and that could give 3D Max a bit of a better opportunity.
Almost at that critical point of these Miramar matches, waiting for the action to unfold as the members of the 4 Kings hold on to the gas station just down the hillside from where both Enviik and MJ-Esports are currently positioned. Even more dangerously close to each other are going to be the Istanbul Wildcats, or what remains after they lost one of their members to the Tarlans. Very close by to the members of SEEKORG, both trying to vie for this high plateau type area to try to get the information. Again, information is one of the key components of competitive PUBG, but when you clash like this with other squads, especially with Fisk, SKS prepped and ready to spot out one of the members of that team. Well, the shot's already coming out. It's going to be Istanbul Wildcats engaging first off of that western edge. As this next shift comes out, down to the southeast we go. Both teams will have to make a rotations. And if SEEKORG doesn't move first, it's going to be a sure fight up here towards the west.
Yeah, SEEKORG are starting to try to move out, but they also have to be aware that you see Tarlans are actually going to potentially put them under pressure. I know they need to move into the circle. Airwaves have a close entrance, so they're looking to just fire shots off. Forax and the other members of SEEKORG are taking damage from both Elgiganten and Airwaves.
Shots coming in. Higgy holding on to one of the high ground positions overlooking the compound that MJ-Esports was holding on to. Now the spray comes out with the M416 trying to find a few connections, be it on the vehicle or be it on the players, but they're not going to be able to do so. As the kill feed continues to erupt, an engagement in between the members of YMCA Elgiganten, but then don't count them out as well because Enviik is lending a hand in putting some shots in this direction. YMCA losing casualties though. Coyote going to be dropped down first. This is going to be lending itself back in the favor of Elgiganten as another engagement pops off. ToxicPlayers going to be wiped through, at least by the members of MJ-Esports, who are able to find one. The third party also powerful off the hill is able to find connections onto Sammy Toxic.
What is Alpha DN doing? He's just in the house on his own, being a little bit too afraid to join the rest of the team. The second they would have heard those members of MJ-Esports coming in my opinion, Alpha DN should have responded more effectively, and that could have potentially could have kept ToxicPlayers alive as a team. But the benefit is that maybe MJ-Esports do not know that Alpha DN is there, so you can just stay prone down, stay out of trouble.
I'm almost thinking that it's possible Alpha DN was going to be trying to do something like that until the shots from Powerful came into play. This was going to be a good squad-on-squad engagement until Powerful just starts barraging shots down off of the hillside and really applying the pressure to both teams. MJ-Esports not able to advance in the long building, and then Alpha DN not able to push in either. It's a tough spot for both of those teams to have now found themselves in, but also back to the Istanbul Wildcats. They've been able to find at least that squad wipe onto Team Elite and Picado. But now as we enter into the mid to late game, they are starting to work their way in the direction of Enviik, who's fighting, at least for some of their players, to get out of the blue zone.
Yeah, Rip is very heavily behind. Flamey is just on the edge of it. And because this is phase 4, the blue zone does start to do just a little bit more damage to your health. However, Flamey has been able to find the knock on to Levant MDK.
Istanbul Wildcats do not need to go out right here. Still with 14 teams alive, that's 0 placement points. And even with the kill points they have picked up, it's not going to be enough. They try to find it, and they're going to be able to do so in combination with the members of the 4 Kings who find Flamey. Rip out to the blue zone as the Istanbul Wildcats will quickly follow suit, only walking away with the points that they were able to pick up in Picado, again on top of Team Elite. And it kind of brings back into question, did they lose too much? Did they have enough meds, utility, etc. to really enter into these engagements on an even footing?
Or did they even just waste too much time being in Picado that they could have moved out into a better position?
Exactly.
So they wouldn't be put under pressure. But either way, that's something that they will talk about as a team, as a last remaining member of ToxicPlayers. Alpha DN is just doing his best. Actually, no, my apologies on a side note. I did not realize this. ToxicPlayers actually have 2 members up, Archie and Alpha DN. I did not realize that, Esquire.
Yeah, they're in a bit of a split position, almost an insurance policy type position here, as they will have to push in out of the blue zone down south about 100 meters or so. But looking at what they have to push through, it's going to be pretty deadly. MJ-Esports guns are going to be trained towards the north. Powerful still looking in that direction. And then if they're able to make it past those 2 teams, in the wide open they go. And that's where you have to start worrying about Futbolists and then CRIPS as well.
Yeah, and then you also have 3D Max as well. However, Panchok on the side of Tarlans has been eliminated, and that is themselves. Tarlans going down in 12th position. We have 11 teams, 38 players left alive. And the 20-minute mark is starting to hit it, and these teams are looking for each other. They're getting closer and closer together as they look to try and make their way into the circle, into a safe position.
Departures coming off of the west here as YMCA looks to try to escape. Four Kings is going to be right there to spray down one of the remaining members of the Toxic Players, Alphadon. We talked about that push they had to make. The effort came out, but was stopped short by the Four Kings. Manny now under fire after giving away his position from those shots. YMCA still trying to exit out of this compound on the hillside. They've got vehicles. SEEKORG going to be trying to draw the attention away from his other teammates as they try to spot out Elgiganten and get the frags, and they're going to be able to do so. It's not them, though. It's Four Kings. They have completely opened up the lines of sight over across the map. The Four Kings are going to be capitalizing, and now the Archie, the remaining player of ToxicPlayers, is able to pick up a kill before quickly going out of the game to the CRIPS.
Hey, a kill point is a kill point on the side of ToxicPlayers. So that's not the worst thing in the world for them, considering the position that they were in and that split. But yeah, YMCA getting a bit of help from Four Kings in the distance. But we were down to 10 teams, 32 players alive. Phantom on the side of 3D just get knocked down by Amareus.
Nellas Possibly. No, he's got two other members alive. Elgiganten Gaming currently sitting in 8th. We talked about how big of a game they needed to have, and they continue to at least make the moves in the right direction as Hugstar with the nice M24 headshot connection out of Falu of SEEKORG down to the south will be had, but they continue to combat against the likes of YMCA Esports to the north. The grenade comes out from Savage. He's able to find the tag down onto Sakura with both teams to the north and the south currently at a disadvantage. Who are they going to push? It's going to be the push onto YMCA. Huge nades comes in, and that's going to be all she wrote for at least two of the members of this YMCA squad. One on their feet trying to spray down for the backside of the car, and they're not going to be able to find it because the shots come in from a distance. SEEKORG is able to wipe out Elgiganten Gaming entirely, saving YMCA. I think they're going to be able to get the res as well before they make the trek to the east.
They will be, because Powerful, who were taking shots off in that direction of YMCA, have been put under pressure on CRIPS E-Sports, and they've actually been eliminated as the two members of CRIPS E-Sports are going to go, okay, we're going to put you down onto the ground, as MJ-Esports are trying to make their way through into a circle. They would have heard the shots. They're a three-man team. They're in a decent position. 7 teams left, 21 players alive. Can they find Webby? Can they find Metaby? Can they put this down to 6 teams?
I think the team that remains out of these 7 with the most to gain here is going to be YMCA Esports.
Yeah.
Certainly, they are going to be chasing Elgiganten in that 8th place position. They've got SEEKORG ahead of them, who is putting up points, but they still have members alive. They still are going to be able to push on here in the penultimate game of stage number 1. MJ-Esports wrapping around, trying to at least wipe out the flank here to the northwestern side of things, where they heard shots coming out of YMCA's Turbo Banani. He was able to find a frag onto Furax, but now the lines of sight are opened up, and the Mini 14 shots start to rain down, finding one connection. One more will do it onto at least one of the members of this YMCA squad, but the lines of sight are completely blocked, and they will be safe for now. But the blue zone is working in off their backs, and it's only a matter of time before they enter into the lines of sight of MJ-Esports once again.
And then in the other areas of this map, we're seeing Airwaves and SEEKORG go toe-to-toe. YMCA Turbo Banani's able to get knocked down onto Furax. Philo gets the knockdown onto Grishka Power. All the while, MJ-Esports, they're just staying where they are, and they are just firing off shots into the distance towards SEEKORG and YMCA.
YMCA's got to stay alive right now. SEEKORG has been eliminated out of the game. This is a huge opportunity. It continues to open up for what YMCA can put on the board. They were currently going into this game, I believe, 3 points behind 8th place position, and it could spell huge things for the members of that YMCA squad. But with 6 squads still remaining, this game is not over yet. A lot could change as Airwaves looks to at least find some frags atop the hillside onto the members of MJ-Esports. And there it is. The run going to be ended by YMCA. Out they go in 6th place position. Certainly picking up some points along the way. So we'll have to watch the leaderboards to see how they advance.
Also, let's keep an eye on Airwaves. They're still a 4-man squad. They've got 7 kills already. They're looking to absolutely secure their spot in phase 2 with a good result followed up from game 2 today. But we also have Metaby on the side of CRIPS E-Sports is left alive, and Futbolist, who we haven't really talked about too much. They're still a 4-man squad, and they occupy one of the few compounds that is left in this zone, although in saying that, it does just shift eastwards.
But we can still talk about this because Futbolists
True,
have 4 alive. That's one thing that not many teams left in this lobby can say. And Futbolists are one of the only teams currently still in the lobby that are chasing after that 8th place position or in a good place to do so. They're going to be very close. If they can pick up a first place win, combo those 10 placement points with the kills that they're going to be able to continue to pick up, it could be an entry into the top 8 positions for Futbolists going into the final game of stage number 1. But again, not there yet. 5 teams still up, 14 players alive, but 4 of those are the Futbolists. I'm going to continue to go back for that because I want to see them try to make good moves. You mentioned it, Imperium. They've got to move out of the building, but can they effectively find a position inside of the circle that plays in their favor?
Well, we did see one member of Airwaves did get knocked down. I think the revive came out from his teammates as Metabee did get taken out from MJ-Esports, and that's end going down in 5th place. We're down to 4 teams. Yes, Gluttony has got the knockdown on the Higgy. So that could be the opening for 4 Kings to push on out of this compound and find their opening into the circle. As it's only Grishka Power who's left alive with 6 health.
Heavily on his back foot.
4 Kings.
He's got the first aid to work off of. It is his last first aid, though, in the blue zone. Unfortunately, that awareness took the best of him, and we'll be taking the 4 Kings out of the game. 3 teams now remain. It's going to be the Airwaves versus MJ-Esports versus the likes of the 4-man strong squad of Futbolists. A 4v4v3 to end out game number 3 of the day, game number 15 of stage 1.
So it's definitely interesting on who has the better position. I actually think MJ-Esports have the strongest position right now. But overall, all teams are generally so spread out that anything could happen right now. Anybody could get knocked down from any position. You've just got to try and protect yourself as much as possible. MJ Juno, he's just trying to look around. He takes shots towards the distance of Futbolists, but then he throws himself back and he is aware of what might be going around to every angle, every side of them as Airwaves are there. They're ready. They want to follow up with another strong performance. They're ready to find out the shots.
MJ-Esports very spread out, trying to get some information around this circle. Ohala around the far northwestern side will need to pull back to his teammates shortly as the push comes in now from Airwaves. Juno, though, able to open it up. Amaris going to be dropped down and out. Sadovnik now throwing out grenades, trying to back off of this pressure that is sure to be raining down on top of them. As you are seeing, the grenades coming in, and Juno is able to secure the kill onto Sadovnik. Another one comes out. Amber is still going to be bleeding out. That's 2 members now on their feet for the members of Airwaves who had previously held 4 alive. This quickly shifts into a 4v3v2, heavily now in favor of Futbolists. Again, as you mentioned, though, Imperium, the positioning not supreme down here on the south, but neither it is for the north, as they have had to shift ever so slightly with the blue zone coming out here in about 5 seconds.
It was always going to be so tough for these teams, right? Because if you made a call to be aggressive onto one of the opponents, you made a chance of exposing yourself to that 3rd team, and that's exactly what has happened with MJ-Esports. They flushed onto Airwaves, got that knockdown, got that kill, but you just leave yourself open to Futbolists taking you out, and that's what's happened. So Futbolists are looking so strong as you're getting into the final moments of this game.
Futbolists could definitely take down an 8th place position off of this game, but we did see how few kills they had. Yes, kills, they don't necessarily matter. Points are points are points, but in this point chase, at the very end of it, when you sit on the cusp of possibly not being able to play any more PUBG here in this competitive scene, this competitive bracket, to try to make your way into contenders, well, it certainly can hurt. 3 teams, though, still playing a triangular formation here in phase number 8. This is going to be the landscape of the final few moments of this game. Phase 9 pops, and in just about 10 seconds' time, that death zone, the blue zone, coming from the edges, will definitely either kill players or force them into deadly positions.
So that's the final grenade has been thrown out from Airwaves. They have no more nades that they can throw out in anybody's direction. They do have smoke grenades that they can use to maybe pull off a bit of a switcheroo to try and get them into a safer position. But now, Futbolists, as you said, 4v2v2, they're in just prime location. They can just split up and dedicate 2 members towards the side of MJ, 2 members towards the side of Airwaves, as you've seen the knockdown come out from Futbolists and MJ.
That's all the Futbolist had to do. They had to survive to phase 9, where the teams to the north would have to push down these open hillsides. MJ-Esports get wiped out, and now the positioning via the smokes has been revealed. They know exactly where Airwaves are. If they only had some frag grenades to throw on that position, but a few shots will do it. And now the nades come in as well. No. They have been spotted. Mackin trying to make a last stand will be dropped down, and then the nade comes in on the Hawk. Futbolist take down the first place chicken dinner here in game number 3 with 6 kills to their name. That's going to be a 16-point game for a team that was sitting in about 9th going into this game, and that will definitely put them in 8th, but not going to be safe moving in to this 4th and final game, not just of the day, but of stage number 1.
Yeah, based on my rough calculations, it should put them in 8th position, because they were actually down in 12th, Esquire. They weren't even in 9th. But a strong performance does lead them into a better position going into the last game of the day. You know, at the end of the day, yeah, they stayed out of trouble. And when you're talking about a team that are down in those stages where every point does count, yeah, you want to be a bit aggressive, but Futbolist just played that game absolutely perfectly. It was overall great game by the final 3 teams. MJ, Airwaves, and Futbolist all put in very strong performances.
It was tough. Kind of a theme here from these games that we've seen. We've seen teams being able to find huge capitalizations or huge opportunities, but not really executing off of those in time. We could see things go very differently than they have been had teams been executing off of those strategies. But nonetheless, an exciting stage 1 has been played out here as we break into the final game. And with so much on the line, this is the way you like these games to kind of shape up here in the final match, because we could see some tricky strategies come out from a few squads. Maybe some teams that some of the top secured teams in those 8 positions don't want to see moving forward.
Especially because in that game, we didn't really see any real crazy zonal shifts. Yeah, initially that phase 1 was deep to the west, but as we saw, it moved very much inland straight away in phase 2 of that circle. So it really wasn't anything crazy for these teams. So from that point of view, you know, it gave them a chance to focus on where they needed to be, and that did pay off, as I said, on the side of Airwaves, MJ-Esports, and Futbolist, who took the win.
Yeah, I believe that's Futbolist's first victory here of the tournament. And what a game to come in and pick up that chicken dinner. You can see the final moments here where they were able to spawn out the members of MJ-Esports, and then the final frags coming out onto Airwaves. Very well executed right there. As soon as they took down MJ-Esports, the smoke concealment, which worked in favor for Airwaves for a few seconds, was ultimately their downfall. As we shift over to the points from this game, 2 teams walking away with 0 points. Not surprised to see Team Elite, certainly with 0 points based off of that clash in Picado versus the Istanbul Wildcats. But one team we are surprised is 3D Max. This is a squad that we do see at the top of the leaderboards traditionally, but picking up 0 points here, that could shift them down the top 8 positions.
It should be okay because they had a decent point advantage down below the 8th place position. But we are looking at the top 8. Elgiganten got 4 points. Istanbul Wildcats got 6 points. Powerful 6 as well. But 4 Kings, MJ, Airwaves, and Futbolist all dominating the kill feed with 7, 7, 8, and 6. So very mixed and matched between these teams, not meaning that one team did not dominate from a points point of view.
Yeah, pretty much, and I say this with almost full confidence, the closest point totals between the top 4 that we have seen from any game so far here in stage number 1. And that just goes to show, I mean, different performances different strategies can net you different points. Airwaves, yes, they went out in second, but with the kills that they amassed, they almost beat out Futbolist in that first point total. Switching over to the kills, though, this is going to be a low kill count. No one really standing out, able to pass that 5 kill per round measure for this match of the game, but certainly a lot of players in that area to strive for.
Yeah, MJ-Esports, top 2 in the kill feed, and then Futbolist and Istanbul Wildcats, followed by CRIPS, all taking 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Yeah, overall, everybody was just kind of balanced between these teams, and I think that kind of was helped because of the fact that overall it was kind of a non-surprising circle and phases that it just mean that these players and these teams were just trading out as we do look at the damage leaders from this game 3 of the day. Genzo, Futbolist, dominating first place with 600, but as we see, not real crazy difference in the damages.
No, and again, the reason why you don't see many of the Futbolists, just 2 to be exact, in the top 10 damage dealers of the game is because they were playing position and then they were defending those positions. So Genzo, we saw him with some pretty incredible shots, especially at the end there on the MJ-Esports. That's where the impact came in. They didn't have to go seek and destroy every other team around them. They just had to hold on to that one little dip and protect it until the end of the game.
Exactly, as we do see the head-to-head between Futbolist and Airwaves, much closer compared to other games we see, which I kind of like because it gives us a better idea of comparison. Airwaves got more kills, but Futbolist actually got more damage. So, you know, they were able to get the shots off, but they just couldn't secure those kills towards the end. That would have helped them a little bit better.
No, and again, just a product of those poke shots coming out from all 360 degrees around them. They were watching their flanks beautifully, but it was every other team trying to make their way in off those edges that ended up capitalizing on the kills. But a good game nonetheless, a necessary game for Futbolists. Airwaves, a good game also for them. It continues to push them up the leaderboards into a more comfortable position leading in to this final game, the 16th game of Stage 1 for the PUBG Europe Contenders Phase 3 promotional. And look at those scores. 3 points is what separates 9th from 8th. Futbolists have been able to secure themselves, at least going into this game, into a qualifying position.
So in my eyes, top 4, top 5 have 100% secured their spots. I'm not even confident 4 Kings have secured their spot, even though they're in 6th place, because SEEKORG, Futbolist, Elgiganten, YMCA, ToxicPlayers even. All those are very close. Well, actually, no, my apologies. YMCA, probably not so much, and ToxicPlayers. But either way, it's open season between the bottom half of the top 8 to find out who is going to go through.
Yeah, it's going to... I couldn't have said anything else, Imperium. It's pretty much all you can say is it's going to be an incredibly exciting final match. You are definitely going to see a few teams playing their true to form PUBG and a few teams trying to pull out all the stops, all the tricks in their bag to get as many points as possible and find themselves on that left side of the leaderboard. Powerful taking away game number 1, Airwaves, game number 2, and then Futbolists with their first chicken dinner of Stage 1 and game number 3. But the 16th match is coming up next here in about 5 to 10 minutes. Make sure that you watch because you're not going to want to miss to find out who the top 8 moving into Stage 2, which kicks off tomorrow, are going to be.